The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
I ain't said this in a while, actually. Right, it says we're live, so I don't know what's happening. So this is the bit where I normally do some big convoluted introduction. Welcome if you've not listened to us before. But where do I start? Sheffield Wednesday booked themselves a place in the League One playoff final after a sensational 5-1 extra time and penalty win against Peterborough United. After a shambolic first leg away, losing by a whopping 4-0, the team dug deep and managed to turn over the heftiest scoreline in playoff history. Another record broken for Sheffield Wednesday. So join us tonight to pick apart the best nights of football this middle-aged man has ever seen. Who were the heroes? Who stood above everyone else? And surely Darren Moore has secured himself a place in the dugout for next season. Now, Ash has stitched me up here because I am on the absolute worst hangover from hell. And I said to him, can you host? He went, yeah, pal. And 3 minutes ago, he went, no, you're doing it, Fudge. So,
mate, I will come in and out, no pun intended, whenever you're ready, son, and I will offer my excellent insight.
So tonight is brought to you by Barocca. So I'm going to be stinging off for an orange pea at some point. But Jesus, lads, where do we go from there? Where do we start? What do we do? I mean, oh God, I'll tell you what. Let's just try and keep our minds. We'll try and keep it professional. We'll try and do it proper. Let's go through the bits. We'll try. There's so many talking points for this entire evening, right? But it genuinely, the reason I look and sound so shit is because I had one of the best days of my goddamn life. I really did. Steve, let's talk about the. Oh, sorry. Let me introduce everybody. If you've not met everybody before, we've got Holly, Blair, John, Stevie, and Ash. Managed and Fudge as well. Not joining us tonight is Simon because he's dropped his teenage son off unsupervised around his girlfriend. So there'll be something we can all discuss through the summer when certain tests come through. So.
Yeah, bad lad. You're a bad lad.
My uncle used to say I'd be going like a singer sewing machine.
I used to live in Southampton, and they used to use the term "like a cat ran out of cows." So kind of enjoyed that one. Right. So Stevie, let's I know it's horrible. Sorry, Ollie. It's very misogynistic. Stevie, let's talk about this starting lineup. So, any major surprises in there? Anybody that you saw and went, well, what's going off? I mean, where did they all play and whatnot?
Any major surprises? Where there might have been one or two. A couple of rumblings prior to the game, weren't there? About a certain LP2. Donning the midfield sort of situation, midfield position, and after Friday night, that caused people to lose their shit a little bit, didn't it? But it came to pass and it happened, and as far as I'm concerned, it was, as we'll talk about tonight, I've no doubt it was an absolute masterstroke, weren't it? Because I thought it was outstanding, and from start to finish, the starting 11 were just on another level, weren't they? It was an absolute another planet, and we've said just before we started recording, I don't know how we're going to get through a podcast where we eulogize about 11 players that have done what they've done last night, but from the point of view of that starting 11, to take it to lift them off the floor as they were at Saturday morning, to get out on the pitch and do the starting 11. Last night was just different gear. Absolutely speechless.
For me, it was the mental barrier to get over it. Darren Moore was so dignified in the way he handled the aftermath of the first leg. Which, now let's be honest, right? That shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't have had to try and chase a 4-0 deficit in the first leg. It should have been tight. It should have been 1-1, 2-0, something like that. It should have been a tighter affair, but for 4-0, and given the incredulity that we all did, we did it on this show, we did it online, we did it on our social media posts, and I for one was blown away. Now, Holly, there were a couple of players for me that stood out. I mean, I don't think anybody particularly had a bad game or an average game, as it were, in a scoreline like that. But there were a couple of players that stuck out for me. Was there anybody who stuck out for yourself?
Yeah, I thought Gregory was an absolute beast throughout, and to keep going like at that intensity throughout the whole time that he was on is just. We kept saying to each other, me and my dad, he can't do that. He can't do that for much longer, but he actually did. And Darren Moore must have been looking at him like, that's my boy. That was like a Darren Moore performance, wasn't it? He did not miss a single header. Nothing went past him at all. He read it perfectly every single time. And just very briefly, a little note for my future husband, Reece James, who was
another one
beautiful. Yes.
The future husband list gets bigger, and do people get on it and then get taken off it, or are you stay there for perpetuity?
Jack
like
Hunt
Black Widow
has joined a new mental list that I had not anticipated he were going to join after that.
Ice in the veins, Jack Hunt. A geezer who's hardly kicked a ball in the last year, all of a sudden turns up and sends us to Wembley with no real fear at all. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then if you watch that penalty that he did, that took some balls. I mean, that, he kind of floats it, doesn't he? Just underneath the crossbar, and you're like, I don't know how you've done that. I don't know how you've pulled that off, but
just gives keeper a little cheeky look, and then he's just like, "Oh, yes, Jack."
But I love that Jack Hunt's tattoos and entire look. You know what I mean? His haircut and his tattoos always makes him look like he works at a car wash or something in town. Those old petrol stations that they all go in, and he's the jet wash kid. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'll move on from there. What about you, John? Anybody stick out to you, sir?
Yeah, well, I thought, Gregory was immense. I mean, they were all immense, weren't they? This is it. But that iconic shot of Gregory screaming to the crowd with his mask on. It looks like Maximus Decimus Meridius, doesn't it, from Gladiator? He's proper on it, isn't he? And Patterson, absolutely amazing, and I wondered how he'd play stuck out there. And you never know what you're going to get with Patterson. He's always got lots of endeavour, hasn't he? But he was just amazing, wasn't he? He was just putting himself about. He got assists, he got goals. He was just phenomenal. They were all phenomenal, and obviously Palmer going into midfield was a masterstroke, as we've said before. He's played there before, and he came back, and I think he was in there for his energy, because we were going to go all out to get those 4 goals, and we needed somebody in the middle of the park to be the engine to keep running and getting forward and cracking back. And we know from his pre-season and he's running and that he's got the stamina to do that, and he was just incredible. They were all incredible. It was just an incredible night.
Now, Ash, the start, the pressure, the intensity right from kickoff was there for all to see, wasn't it? We knew what we wanted. We were going for it. This is what's happening. This is what we're going to do. And it came right from minute one, didn't it?
100%. Yeah. I don't know what I think if everyone in the pub before the game and everyone talking, it was like a fast start, get a first goal, hopefully in the first 20 minutes. And you could just see from kickoff, the pressure, the chasing, absolutely from everybody, even the 12th man, the crowd. Every time we were running, chasing, if it was Gregory, Bannon, Patterson, whoever it was, Smith, whoever it was, chasing back, chasing down the Peterborough defence, and to, put the shits up him, didn't they? Really, right at the start, and when he looked at the starting lineup, and he's got 5 strikers, 5 attacking players, should we say? Sorry, and he's picked, and it we put Palmer in the midfield, and you think he's going to go for this, and he did. And fair fucks. Oh, shit, live. Sorry, everyone, if you're listening. Keep it down. But he did. He went for it, and that's exactly it. And the crowd loved that. The crowd got it from the singing, the shouting, the cheering every time. He couldn't have asked for a much better start, and then obviously it got even better after 9 minutes, didn't it?
So let's talk about the penalty. So I'll tell you what, I'll stay with you, Ash, because there was something else I wanted to talk to Blair about. So I'm going to keep in my pocket just for 5 seconds. But Blair met Ozzy Howland. He was very, very excited about the whole thing.
Did you have a cuddle? Did you have a cuddle?
He's a great bird.
He's a top bird.
He's class. He's class. He's the biggest bird of this world. Of this world.
So, so yes, Ash.
I don't know where to go with that. Is Blair on another list now?
Yeah, he's on the same list that Tango was on the other year. You know what I mean? Like so the Johnson, it's Johnson, isn't it? He goes running into the box, and you know the Peterborough set their stall out that they were going to shit house and time waste right from second one. Every free kick, every tap, every touch, every time that they had the opportunity to run that clock down, they did it. And the irony of him complaining that we scored in the 98th minute was not wasted on me. Yeah. You know, that I have got no real joy. I've got no real axe to grind with Peterborough as a club. But, you know, that was the only point where I just kind of went, you know what I mean?
He's basically Fergie time. It's Fergie time. He's been done by Fergie time.
what and I don't know the rules of football in and out or anything, but isn't it a minimum of 6 minutes? I know we've just skipped on 90 minutes. Like obviously we were talking about the penalty, but it's a minimum of 6 minutes. So if you shit house, you bring a couple of subs on, you time waste, you go down and pull, like do the hamstring thing. The ref has got a right to give another 30 seconds or whatever it is. So
and he did exactly that.
It can get lost.
So anyway, let's talk about this penalty. He made a bit of a meal of it, Johnson, didn't he?
No. Has the right to do it. No. He was there to do it, so he did it, and that's it. You going at pace. He steps over. He's asking for any of the defender, so yeah.
He kind of got rope-a-doped a bit, didn't he? He kind of got suckered in, like, I'm going to leave you there, watch me fall over the back of you here. This is what's going to go off. Holly, you were going to interject there. You were going to kick off then. I've seen your face turn. What were you going to say?
How dare you say that he made the most of it when you said that Oxford one was a penalty when it won? You don't know anything about this stuff.
Listen to me. I am the host here. I'm trying to say outlandish things for likes and clicks. That's Adrian Durham's still crying in his beer. This is the entire cornerstone of online social media.
And I'm not listening to you or Stevie shaking his head.
Go on, Steve. Tell
husband.
Another future husband, one for the list. Jot that down. So, Stevie, come on. He's made an arseholes of it, and he's gonna tell you what. Watch what. There may have been contact there. It could, but he made sure that he made the referee make a decision, didn't he?
Yeah, I think to Holly's point, the defender's given the referee a decision to make. The defender's gone in and gone, right, if you jump in like that, you know, what's the referee going to do? He just wasn't ideal. But it was more of a penalty than the Oxford one. It was less of a penalty than the Curtis Davis one at Derby. So it sits somewhere in the middle. I've got no complaints. It's what we needed. I just think it was the ideal start, and it was always going to be Marvin Johnson, weren't it? Any shithousery that's to be had at the minute around our club, it just seems to be Marvin Johnson going back to the Ipswich situation, going, you know, he's the guy that can buy fouls and stuff like that for days. So yeah, it was a penalty. I've no complaints. Sorry, I've no arguments with it. It was soft as fuck, but it was a penalty.
There was a point just before that where I thought he could have given a penalty, and then we said to each other,
"There was a big call, weren't there?"
5 minutes, and then
there were a few handball shouts that we didn't get as well, weren't there? If you recall,
so there you go.
I'll tell you what, the linesman was in for dogs abuse. So when we all went on the pitch at the end, someone absolutely knacked the lineman, just went over and just kicked him over, and it was like, oh God, are we that good now?
I didn't know that. My friend texted me and said, "Did you see one of the fans 2 foot the linesman?" And I said, "Well, there's no need for that. I would have said 1 footed at least, but you know." That's it.
I mean, right. So, Sir Blair, Smudge has got up. He's gone to put this penalty away. He's absolutely made no mistake about it, and that's the first of 2 that he took that day.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think twice about it, did he? Ice in the veins, as they say.
He's awesome. I don't know what to say. I'm still broken. I'm broken from it.
Now listen, boys and girls. So Blair and I, Blair and I went to watch the game together, and I feel like he's not gone out like that before. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We got on it.
Dan, that sounded a bit sinister, son. But
even like getting the taxi there, and the guy went in the bus lane for us. I mean, turned up like VIPs, and we just skipped everything. I mean, just turned up like we were here.
So obviously, because I run a boozer, one of my colleagues who runs a Sheffield branch of where I work, we sat there about 5, 6 o'clock. We had one turned into 6. You know what I mean? Blair was working at 11:30 that night. He was working nights, so he's met Aussie Owl. He's had a VIP treatment. He's drank for bugger all. He's sat there, shot the shit with the random people he's never met before. He's been cuddled. He's been on the pitch. He was on my shoulders for a time. He's still on a come down, Blair, bless him. He's had the best day.
He's been to Disneyland.
we got everyone around us involved there, didn't we? Like, they had that little 5-year-old in front of us, and we were like saying, if we win this game, your dad's going to buy you a PS5. And he's like, I don't like
his dad went, if we turn this over, I'm chucking him on pitch myself. And he did. Get on there.
We had the guy in the baseball cap who was just like off his head, and he jumped on us because a big cuddle. Then we had the family behind us. There was, I think it might have been after the second goal or the third goal. I ended up on the chair. You was like, your head was like in my chest, just shouted, "Oh my god!" And I was just like,
it was a very emotional time.
I had my arm aloft, just fucking like just screaming. Ah! She's like,
upshot being that 5-year-old child that was in front of us will never sleep again. In his life.
So tired, little. He was so tired.
So listen, penalty. We've gone 1-0 up early doors. It made a difference, Blair. That's what we needed to do. When 10 minutes in, we needed to make sure that we got. Oh, Popwell Duck's back, by the way. He's here. We needed to make sure that we got an early goal, right? That was key, wasn't it? In order to set the tone.
Yeah. Because like the longer that was almost like it just needed to. It was like breaking the ice, isn't it? Like that was it. It was on then, and then it's like it's a weird position. Like I talked to my mate on the way home. I rang him in the car, and I said, like, like people used to say, like 2-0 is a dangerous lead. I said, well, 4-0 is now a dangerous lead. And we were saying, like, as a bit, what do you do? Peterborough set up, and they were like, all right, we're 4-0 up, so they were happy. But I think when it went to 1-0 in 80 minutes, and the crowd was as loud as it was, they're like thinking, do we go forward or do we just sit back? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think they really knew what to do in the sense of like how to manage the game.
I think we forced them back, and I think we made that choice for them right from kickoff. I thought we went, right, we're coming at you, lads. Yeah. And what they did, I think given the starting lineup that they did, the formation that they did, I think part of them was going to be to defend from the front, right? So you've got Clark Harris up there, big old shithouse, elbowing everybody around, driving at defenders, all the rest of it. Ihekwe absolutely had him in his pocket all day.
Dan, and did he actually get off the bus, Johnson Clark Harris?
Nah, not at all.
He did pass that ball to Bannon at end.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah. Prick.
So now, just as a bit of a change-up, I believe this may be going out live. We did press some buttons that we might be live. Ash, are you keeping an eye on the tweets to see if we get any messages coming in that don't have any F's and C's in it? Or
yeah, because to our massive... I believe 9 watchers. We've got 0 tweets at the minute. So, everyone's out celebrating.
I was going to say 9 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah.
We know what you're doing. Like.
They know what we're doing. We're saddos. We're sat here doing this. Well, we love it. So it's not sad, is it?
Honestly, I'd be out now, but my liver couldn't take it. It was a 5 a.m. finish for me. I'm 2 bottles of rum in, and I am 1 cheek lift away from pebble dashing this entire white wall behind me. I mean, honestly, it's grim. It smells like a packet of dry roasted peanuts, this flat. So anyway, let's move it on. Right.
Let's talk about the football, yes.
Let's talk about football. Right, second goal. I've forgotten the second goal. John, what was the second goal?
Second goal was Lee Gregory, wasn't it? It was, again, great work from Patterson. Received the ball on the right.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't great work. It was fucking dog shit.
The whole goal was dog shit.
It was the worst goal ever scored.
It It weren't. It was
And I don't even care. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was just it was opening up, getting back to 2-goal deficit. It weren't a good goal, but it was a good goal for the fans, wasn't it? Because we were in
It took forever to get over the line.
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah,
just got up off
didn't
the
even
floor,
try.
didn't he, and just stuck his foot out, and it just went in. It just like
I think what got that ball over the line was the collective intake of breath from the cop. like Holly, that's right where you sit in it right there. I mean, you and your dad must have been responsible for 80% of that goal, just inhaling it towards the back of the net.
It took so long to get over the line. Oh, quick! I
didn't breathe, but like I remember thinking that the way that ball went over, that was agonizing for us as fans. But like, imagine being that geezer on the line, because it was going so slow and he couldn't do anything about it. His body was here. It was all. He's like, I can't.
And then their keeper dived on the ball after, didn't he? Like he was like jumping on a grenade.
That's right.
Where he didn't want anybody to get the ball back. So
yeah, was it Gregory chased in, didn't he? Gregory chased in, wrestled it off him. So
that one for me is always really weird. Like when the goalkeepers try and do that, because one, grow up. You know what I mean? And there was still 25 minutes left of that half. I mean, what impact do you think you're really going to have by holding onto the ball like a 4-year-old going, it's my ball? You know what I mean?
Being shithousing all game, and I mean, 120 minutes he were doing it, and he never got a yellow card. Did he? So.
Well, yeah, but after that goal, that's the point when I thought, we've got him here. Have you ever seen a team do a huddle on the pitch after 25 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
All their players ran up and did a huddle.
Yeah.
Their heads had gone.
Yeah.
And if they'd have scored straight away after that, then I think our heads might have gone a bit, but their heads they'd done an us.
I think
they'd Wednesdayed it up.
They've done it worse than us.
I think there was a really, what's the word? Camaraderie. I don't know what the singular of that is. Stevie, you might know. A real camaraderie spirit. Is that's not the right English, but there's a point where
a collective spirit amongst it, wasn't there?
There really was. Like the guys up front knew what they needed to do. They needed to put the ball in the back of the net. But the guys at the back genuinely were like, right, we need to do our bit now. And there was a couple of times during that first half where you thought, oh shit. Like I genuinely thought at some points it was going to come. And I think if they'd have got one goal during that 90 minutes, I think it'd have knocked the stuffing right out of us. And I think all that bluster and all that pump that we had would have just been in a second. It would have all gone. Now, on the I forgot where I am. It's probably you now, Stevie. Actually, I'll stay with you on the subject of the time wasting that Peterborough were doing. My issue with it wasn't that they were doing it, because we'd do the same, right? Of course you would. Everybody would. It's more that the referee didn't give a shit. Like call him up on it. You know what I mean? Have a word, have a chat, do something. He didn't do anything, did he?
No, he didn't. And the interesting thing with that is, do you know what? I don't actually think the referee had a bad game. I thought, in terms of the decisions that he had to make and the things that, the calls that he had to make, I thought he was as good as we've seen this season. But you're right, the sort of the drop in, the adjusting your shin pads, a free kick's been given and the ball's gone over that way and we're just going to walk over the ball and so on and so forth. They slow timed and slowed the game down as much as they could or attempted to from sort of minute one. That was the only thing I'd say, but there's no precedent for it, is there? There's nobody that's come as an official and come along and sort of pulled it up and sort of said, right, if this is where you're going to go with it, we're going to show a card in the first sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes, and we're going to set our stall out and say we're not going to stand for that. But that goes back to the original point that you've made, that we'd have done the same. There's no complaints there. Going into the game, from my point of view, my big worry about the whole thing was, even if we get 1, 2, or even 3 goals fairly early, they're just going to come in and sit compact. They're going to go narrow. They're going to put the midfield and then, the back 4 or back 3, whatever, and then the midfield in front of them. Clark Harris up top as a focal point, or Mason Clark, and then it's going to be difficult for us to break down. And we've had a season of watching Wednesday toil try and break down it. And we've got lucky, not lucky. We've done all right against teams like Forest Green at home. We've scored some goals against poor sides, but after Friday night, I didn't necessarily think that Peterborough would capitulate the way that they did. I thought it would be a much more difficult sort of thing to sort of experience, to try and get them to break, or us to break them down. I think last night we were phenomenal. I do.
We bullied them. They
we
didn't
did.
know
We
what.
harassed. And I think, do you know what? I'll say it. I think, to your point where we were talking about knocking the wind out of stuffings, I think us absolutely with the 12th man, and that atmosphere, absolutely from minute one, it was as loud as I can remember it being in 35 years of watching Sheffield Wednesday. And I know it's only League One, and I know it's only the playoffs. There were 31,000 people there. Do you know what? 31,000 people have turned up last night to go to a League One playoff semi-final when we were 4-0 down. And the vitriol that's been on social media and so forth. Say what you want about the club. You detach Darren Moore, you detach the players, you detach Bannon, the situation from it. What an absolute endorsement for our fan base. And our fan base has come in for some criticism, and rightly so, for the stuff that happened last weekend. I thought last night, to a person, we were absolutely phenomenal, and it just got me emotional.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with everything you've said. And like, there's that point. I think Blair said to me, we looked around the ground, and Blair went, "Where's all these people that returned the tickets then that everybody was talking about?" You know what I mean? The only person that was missing was that geezer who tore his up, who's trying. I don't know if you've seen it online now. Who's tried to pass it off as a gag, like, I've got you all. No, you got the mug on and rip your ticket up, Jeff. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't sit here and pretend like it was a big gag that we.
For some Twitter interactions.
Yeah. Now, Blair, we've got to have a big shout out for manning the sidelines, haven't we? The ball boy that was near us.
Oh my God, what a legend!
He's a legend.
Right.
all season, mate. He needs an outstanding achievement award, that lad.
He is. I've never noticed him before, but he put a shift in, didn't he? Everything. Like
every corner, everything. It was just like, even like.
So there was, go on.
I'm going to say, when I can't even speak, my voice is completely
I
can't speak. Like, if we went to a cross and it went, he over here and it went out, like he even reacted to that. He was just like so upset. He was kicking everything, weren't he? He was a legend.
But there was some great bits where it's like halfway up the line at the on the south stand, right? It's nearly the halfway line.
Yeah, he's running.
And Peterborough have got a throw in, and he's gone sprinting to make sure that geezer gets that ball as quick as possible, and we're not going to lay waste that. He was spotting corners up for him. It was, honestly, kid's a legend. Whoever you are, you man, fair play last night, because you were the 13th man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's talk about half time. We've gone in for half time, Holly. You know, it's 2-0. Did it start creeping in then? Did you get the moment where you go, "Oh, we could do this"? Because there was a lot of shrugging for me.
No,
I'm receiving a text message, by the way, like it's 1992.
No, like I say, I was fully on board from when the second goal went in. I had to sit next to my dad, bear in mind, who was the most positive person after Friday. After whenever it was. Yeah, Friday.
He did call it, didn't he? He did call it.
Do you know what, right? He's not been very well. So he's been on some painkillers. And then he rang me up and he went, "I've had a really vivid dream about Barry Bannon." And I was like, "Dad, I don't think I want to know about this." But and he said, "We're going to score 4 goals. It's good." And then he went through this whole thing. And then he said, and then Bannon came over to the corner in his dream. And my dad shouted, "Finish him, Bazza." and then obviously that actually happened. So at the end of the game, he was just screaming at top of his voice, "Finish him, Bazza," which was just a brilliant moment to observe, really, which I think is what is now on the front of the Sheffield Star and every other thing. That's his "Finish him, Bazza" moment, I think.
So your dad was suckered in. He was like, "This is happening. This is a good way to be." What about you, John? How did you feel at halftime?
Yeah, I felt it was just what we needed. If we were going to get back into it, I thought we needed to go in at half time, at least clawing a couple of goals back, which we did.
Would you have not just preferred, like, I know it weren't enough, but just one more would have been dead nice for half time? Like, if we'd have got one just towards the back of the first half, I'd have been like, we're going to batter these.
I kept saying, like, just one more.
But to be fair, if we're wishing for shit, I'd rather be 25 again. But, like, you just...
Yeah.
just best case scenario.
I saw Holly being in fan zone with her dad, like, and I said then, I was like saying to her, what do you think octave levels will be when it was 4-1, then it's 4-2, then it's 4-3, then it's 4-4, and we were, saying it in half jest but half hope as well. And then obviously, I think it did get louder, didn't it? Every goal that went in, we got louder, didn't we? As a crowd, it was just immense, wasn't it? But yeah, it's a good at half time to get 2-2. I thought, job's half done. Got off a chance here, and to be honest, I were a believer by then, Dan. At two goals by half time, I were all in. Yeah, I were all in. I said to me, mate, this is on.
All right.
And I'm never like that.
I was going to say, you're normally quite pragmatic. Ash would have just gone, that's it now, there's not going to be any goals in the second half. In fact, did we say that, Ash, at half time? I can't remember.
I can't remember. We were a few beers deep, weren't we? So maybe. I think because I'm usually the negative and grumpy one of the podcast. So even for me, I was pretty on board with it. I think it was a great showing. Like I said, the first time I spoke earlier, it was like 2-0 at half time, and I took that all day 2-0. But it was the application, it was the way. We had a
battering them.
We had a penalty. Okay, yes, right. But from like we said, from minute one, hustle, chased, ran down, everything. It was absolutely fantastic. Goal, penalty, yes, good finish by Smith. Second goal, shithouse goal. Pardon my French, but it's a goal. It could have gone off someone's bum, forehead, eyebrow. I don't care.
They all count.
They all count. And it was 2-0. So I was happy as anyone at 2-0 going in half time. And then it was the break, come back out, and it was like, right.
Sorry, I just squeezed Potwell duck without realising.
I thought I'd swore or something, and you'd
that's gonna be your editing bit. Stop it. No.
So it was then it was right. That's the first half done. 2 goals. Go again. It's a game of 2 halves. Lovely, another cliche getting in there, but
get them in. And then another ding noise.
Yeah, another quick start from then, and then obviously we started off, kicked off, and I didn't realise. Apologies if everyone else did. That obviously we turned round at the start of the first half, but that was Bannon's decision. So
was it?
Yeah, what a masterstroke. What a masterstroke! You need a quick start. Let's attack the cop, and obviously it worked.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
Peterborough being silly, yeah.
Go on, Steve.
I'd be interested to know. I think in the interviews and all the stuff, and we may talk about in a while the coverage that the EFL have done, and obviously we've waxed lyrical about the fantastic sort of coverage that we've had on YouTube and social media as a club itself. Bannon's interview mentioned, I think his name was Tom Bates, and everybody sort of went, who is this guy? And he's a psychologist that they brought in, and the reports were they've come back from Peterborough when we're tearing stuff up and burning tickets and calling Darren Moore every inappropriate name under the sun. Darren Moore's got off the bus. Everybody's gone home at sort of 1 a.m, and by all accounts, Darren Moore's gone home. He's gone into his office, his study, wherever it is. He's watched the game back and gone, right, this is where I need to be. And 8-9 hours later, he's got people in, and that's it. So if that's part of that sort of strategy and plan, it's probably not a chat for now. We could probably do a podcast on whether or not Darren Moore is everything that we say he is or he isn't. But I think last night has gone to prove that some of the criticism that the guys come under from all of us, and I'm a Mooring guy. I have been. I've wavered loads in the last sort of month or so, but What he did last night in terms of team selection, tactics, the team around him, the fact that we've done what we've done, if every little intricate sort of decision that has been made has led to the outcome that we've got, then that's an absolute masterstroke. And to Ash's point, if Barry Bannon has decided on a coin flip, because my sister said to me, what's happened here? Because we've turned and we've gone to the cop and they got the kickoff. And, you know, you can't win the coin toss twice. So, you know, she raised an eyebrow, and I never really thought about it until we've just mentioned it now, because I didn't realise that Bannon had done that either. If that's, you know, your reverse psychology, your rope-a-dope, or whatever it is you want to call it, to get to that point, then he deserves a lot of credit as well. And you know, I'll mention it now. We have a group chat, and we have a hot topic where we talk about whether or not Bannon is a captain, and we talk about him on the pitch. If that's a decision that he's made as captain on the pitch or off the pitch about what goes on the pitch, then he deserves a lot of credit. I'm not saying he's right or he's wrong or whatever else. He deserves a pat on the back for that last night.
Well, that bit in the video after, behind the scenes after the game's finished, and Darren Moore says, like, you're so proud of them all. And then Bannon says, can I say something about from us to you, saying like you prepared us, and that's what a captain does. Like
that made my bottom lip quaver. That did. I was like, "What about it?"
I sat there thinking like, I'll never criticise him again. You know what I mean? Because we don't see this sort of shit.
Join us next season when Blair breaks his promise.
I'll tell you now.
Join us Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It's going to be boring. I'm going to be so boring next season because after last night, how can I ever?
Yeah, I kind of want to retire from watching football. So after last night.
Are you not going to Wembley then, Blair?
I'm going, but if they lose, I'm not going to slag them off after last night.
Did you get your celebration out, Blair? Did you do your celebration?
He had 4 chances. No, he didn't. He had 10 chances.
Scored 10 goals last night. I've never shouted "Come on Wednesday" more in my life. All we did, like, literally me and Dan run it for like 90 minutes, 120 minutes. Fucking come on! Every time we won the ball back.
There was many expletive, and I went for a P 8 times. So
I held it in for 2 hours. I had to go before the penalties.
Couldn't stop. So right. Half time's come round, and Stevie's point there gives me a good segue into Barry Bannon, actually. So there was 2 things I heard in the janker behind the on the corner of the cop, the side of the south stand, and the one where I think one side's meant to be an entrance and the other's an exit, but they just don't put any signs up, so it's just a load of people just inhaling each other's pee, and then a bloke who was like 2 foot shorter than me tried to pee next to me. I can't pee then. You know what I mean? So now I'm just stood there with the chap out going, you finish yet? You know what I mean? Anyway, that weren't the bit. One of them was Barry Bannon. Somebody
what, in the pisser?
Stood next to you.
He was a geezer. He was a geezer 2 foot tall. No, somebody went, well, Bannon's having a shit game, innit? I was like, what the fuck are you? And you know, you're like, don't engage a man while you've got your penis in your hand. You know what I mean? And he was going, he's having a shit game. Now, bear in mind, we had to play some very direct football in order to attack the goal. So clearly, Barry Bannon for that first half could have had neck ache just watching it. Just go over his head a lot of the time. But then when he did get the ball at his feet, there's like a fever pitch that the crowd gets to, because if we're on the break and Bannon gets the ball, we know that he's not shit. So there's kind of like a bit where we go, oh, now we're in a position of authority and our good players got the ball. You know what I mean? And for a geezer who's just gone, Bannon's not playing very well, you're like, oh, pal, have a day off. And then he followed it up with an absolute pearl of wisdom, given what we've said about the crowd. And we had the classic, where's all these bloody people been all bloody season? I've come in here, and then they've all bloody just turned up 30,000 today, bloody hell crap. Come on, pal.
It did realise who he was talking to, didn't it? The guy who's been to 2 games, travelled 400 odd miles, yeah?
That was a long way.
That needs to be that quote. That needs to be. You know, we've got the murals on the cop end. We need it on the away end. Who the bloody hell are these people turning up?
Yeah. I've had these 6 years. These buggers turning up for a big game.
Have it on the big lane.
Yeah. So that's that was my half time. Right. So half time's gone. Me and you were tentative, Ash, weren't we? We were kind of like, well, it's a good start, right? You know, there weren't no negative with us. So right, Ollie,
No.
we've gone at Ollie. I've been up north for a day. I've been up north for 15 hours. All of a sudden, I'm going Holly. We're up there. It's second half. We've kicked off, and how long? What did we score on? 50 minutes. What was it? I've not got the figures.
72, was it?
I thought we needed to score in the first 15 minutes of the second half to make to really get a stamp on it, but it just kind of dwindled away from it for a bit. Now, was there a point before we got the third goal where you thinking, shit, the clock's running down here?
I have never watched the clock as much as in this game. From the first minute, I'm like, right, we've got 8 to 9 minutes to get 5 goals. Right. And then after the first goal, right, we've got 82 minutes now. Come on. And then all the way through, just like, right, this is how many minutes we've got left. We've still got time.
That's the most amount of maths you've done in your life.
I'm dead after this. I didn't even drink yesterday, and I've had a hangover today for some unknown reason. I haven't been able to talk at work. It's just been horrible. But yeah, so I've watched the clock pretty much continuously, but I always believed, always. I've never doubted.
All right. So, Stevie, Holly's a liar. What about you? Did you feel like the clock was ebbing away a little bit?
It was actually, I think for me, it was between the third and fourth goal.
That was I think that was the one, because when we got the third one with about half an hour to go left, didn't we?
20 minutes, I think it was.
20 minutes, it was 70 minutes.
Yeah, and James has scored, and then I think the commentary said, "You've got 20 minutes, a big 20 minutes coming," and that was the moment. You know, the first goal's gone in, and you get that sort of, all right, we're counting down, we're 20 minutes in. Oh, and it actually felt like because we'd scored so early, plenty of time, we can still do this. Then the second goal, and you kind of go, all right, we're on now. And like you said, if we'd have got a third goal before half time, it'd have been a different, negative, it'd have been a different
We'd have been quite chilled out as a crowd, wouldn't we?
Yeah. But we were positive though, weren't we? You know, we'd not complained. There were no moaning or anything like that. And as we've said before, the way that we got behind the team was absolutely phenomenal. But we'd scored the third goal, and then that was it. And obviously I sit on the south, and the scoreboard's there, and it's literally, I was like, it's like watching a game of tennis. So ball and scoreboard. But that sort of that last 20 minutes, it felt like an eternity without. It's weird. It felt like an eternity, even though we didn't score. If that makes sense. There was always a little bit more time, but it got a bit desperate at times for me personally. I don't know how anybody else felt, even though we controlled the game. I was worried that we were doomed. I think it's the Wednesday in us, isn't it, that we were doomed to be disappointed with the last sort of 2-3 minutes of the game.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because John, there's a third goal that we need to talk about, because for me this was the play of the game. It was the best play, but somebody didn't touch the ball.
Yes. An absolute phenomenal bit of play by Gregory again, wasn't it? But yeah, just leading up to that goal, I mean, I was stood on the cop, and it were standing where I were. Everybody was stood up. They were getting shouted at by old people. They were like, "Bloody sit down!" But I was kind of just stood there, like, and because of noise, I was like kind of muttering to myself. You know, I was saying, "We're still in this. We can still do this. You can get 2 goals in 2 minutes. We see it all the time." And then we started charging up their end again for another attack. Reece James, and somebody played the ball into to Gregory, lovely dummy, and then Reece James. I thought he just hit it a little bit too far. I thought the keeper were going to smother it, and he just managed to poke it through his legs, didn't he? And then that's it. Then you're up for a barnstorming finish, aren't you? You're expecting a barnstorming finish then, because they've still got like 15 or so minutes left to grab that 4th goal and take it to extra time, because that's realistically, as much as we want to win the tie, to come back from 4 down, you're looking at probably taking it to extra time, aren't you? Barring something ridiculous, aren't you? Really? So,
absolutely.
And that set us on his way, didn't it? That third goal, like, right, that barnstorming finish, take it right to the death, injury time, whatever. So, yeah, getting that third goal were just come at the right time for everybody. We're getting a little bit nervous and feeling like the game was ebbing away and clock watching and all that. So when Reece James got that, it lifted us all again for one final push, didn't it? Which was just epic.
Well, there was a weird bit after that third goal, because that's when all of a sudden we're going to win the FA Cup next year. You know what I mean? This is the best team I've ever seen. You know, we're going to have the Champions League in 3 years. That, you know what I mean? You know, you get suckered in, don't you? And but then the clock went down, and all of a sudden I felt that there was mutterings and chunterings coming in, and our intensity didn't stop. That, you know, the team did really well, didn't they, Blair? But all of a sudden people started, because we're talking to get the third on about 70 minutes, and we didn't score to the 98.
Well, the crowd were knackered.
That we were buggered, and I said to you, didn't I? It went flat.
Like, it sounded like, I think people started like trying to get a song going, but everyone's voice is gone.
Yeah,
so it was like a subdued version of like We're All Wednesday, aren't we? Because everyone was just
sounded like Minions, didn't we?
Yeah, we just had we just had no energy left. Like, we were spent, and like the players were still going. And then I said in the group chat what was so impressive about them that last night's performance was they didn't shoot on sight. I mean, every time someone was at the ball around the D in the 18-yard line, everyone shouted shoot, shoot, and they never did. They
floated it onto that back stick every time.
They were so composed every time, and everything was methodical. Like, they knew what they were doing, they knew what they were targeting. And I mean, that piece of commentary of Bannon, Johnson, Flynn, they fucking done. Well, he didn't say fucking, but everyone else did.
What version are you listening to?
Not the BBC.
They've done it. Oh my God!
That's that dodgy stick he's got in it.
Hang on, in it.
I mean,
hang on, Blair. Listen. Stevie's been doing this show now for about 3 or 4 years.
I'll let him.
And
do it.
And I felt like he's earned this one. That geezer's been flying the flag for a certain number 2 shirt in this team. A certain player that we've got whose face looks like he needs an iron. Now, Steve, there is nobody else who can run us through this.
I'm genuinely emotional just even thinking about having to go back and sort of relive it. We've talked about the run for the third goal, and we've talked about, you know, the fact that he's gone into midfield, and we've talked about his impact in the game, and the guy's been much maligned and so on and so forth. But how on earth do you even begin to write a story about somebody who's in the stands at Cardiff 2005, you know, with his dad, and has come through the academy, gone through the system, you know, gone out on loan to Tranmere, you know, all the stuff that has been covered so much. It couldn't have been any other person for me. You know, you've got your Bannon as a talisman, you've got your big players, your Windasses, and everybody else. The fact that our, you know, bang average right back that everybody seems to say has come in and scored the goal that has taken us into extra time, that could potentially turn it on a full 180, is just, I was absolutely speechless. I personally, I don't even have the words to sort of eulogize how emotional I felt last night. And again, I'm feeling emotional about it. The guy's an absolute fucking phenomenon as far as I'm concerned.
Did you get to touch him when everybody got on the pitch and he stayed?
I didn't. Do you know what? Listen, do you know what? I've seen, you know, you've dropped those videos in. You rubbing his head and Holly's dad rubbing his head. I was like, you absolute bastard. I just got jumped on by people going. I got jumped on by ex-students from school going, Mr. Spence, Mr. Spence. And I'm like, leave me alone. I want to go and see Liam Palmer.
No, I tell you what, that was a weird bit getting on the pitch at the end, actually, because I heard a couple like, and don't get me wrong, this is not me showbizing myself, right? I've been doing this show a long time, but there was a bit where I was kind of trapped. I couldn't get off, and I heard fudge, and I went, that's weird. And I went, all right. And then and somebody else said it, and I was like, this is weird. It's dead. It's just dead. I mean, how many people have we got watching us now, Ash, right now?
3.
Brilliant, right? You know what I mean? We're not a big deal here. I just find it dead weird. So that's the moment, right? We've gone in. Extra time was always going to be difficult, Holly, right? So, you know what I mean? When they scored, did you see us scoring again? Because that 4 is a big ask. 5 is a huge ask, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I think at that point, I thought, even if we lose, we're still happy with what's happened.
I think we all did, because I think it was that kind of like, we gave it a go, right? We fucked it up, and we give it a go to rectify the mistake.
Fuck that. Shut up, you absolute knobs. I'm happy. Oh, of course I'm happy. Yeah, we've gone through 4-0. Yeah, extra time.
I'd have been like,
oh, shut up, get out.
I'd have been upset. Don't get me wrong. Here he is. Here he is.
You've just said you've been happy.
I've had a water,
I'm all right.
But yeah, I thought it would have been a tough ask to score again. But Will Vokes, as soon as they scored, did you see him? He basically looked every single player in the eye and told them to calm down and that we were going to get back into it. It was just absolutely brilliant at that point when everyone else is looking like shit. He wasn't. And then I think the crowd sort of thought, right, now we need to lift him again. And then
we were knackered though.
There were a couple of points like where I said, oh, why hadn't he shouted for it? And I feel like he probably did shout football, but couldn't hear it because of crowd. Like, couldn't hear people shouting man on or whatever. And then there was that moment where Patterson was completely dead, and then somehow resurrected himself and carried on running for a bit. And I think all the players were at that point by the end of it, weren't they? They were all like, I've got nothing left, and then giving a little tiny bit more. But I'm not convinced that I thought we were still going to do it at that point.
Go on, Ash.
Their goal was a bit of good luck, weren't it, really? I think come off Gregory, didn't it? It was down as an OG. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, come off his back. So their attacker, whoever it was, if it was Clark Harris who was closest, I don't know, whoever it was.
No, I think it was.
He hasn't got a clue. He didn't have a clue, did he? Hasn't got a clue.
Sorry, can I just interject? I know we're live and so forth. Barnsley have just won.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, and how do you feel about that, Holly? Live reaction.
Shit! You're all shit!
You're all shit!
Okay. I tell you what, we'll discuss that for 5 minutes. Then at the end of this, let's get through to this.
Sorry for interrupting the flow.
No, it's like breaking news, everyone. Like breaking news.
Yeah, get a ticker on, Ash. Get a ticker on. Get a ticker on at the bottom saying that Sheffield Wednesday are playing Barnsley on chat. You know what I mean? All right. So, John, you can take us through to the Pato goal then, because this for me was a big goal because I've followed this team for a number of years, and we don't get these moments. We don't get the Steve Bruce in the 97th moment. We don't get the, but you know. And I tried to write some down today. You know, like Kieran Lee against Rotherham and Bristol City when he did that. I was trying to, but 5 goals, like we don't get these days, do we? And when that goal went in, I was an emotional wreck. I don't think I celebrated. I just kind of went. I just froze. What were you like?
My favourite moment of normal time. Well, my favourite moment before penalties, obviously. And the reason was because when they got that goal in to make it 4-1, I physically saw people around me kind of slump like this. Oh shit, we've shit it. We've shit it. They've got a goal. And I turned to my mate and I said, "Look at them. Look at them lot over there, celebrating, throwing inflatable bananas around. They think they're through." I said, "There's 15 minutes left. I'm telling you right now, we are not done. We are not done in this game." And he's like, puffing a bit. And obviously, we had another attack, and it comes into the box. It falls to Patterson. He has one bite at it. It comes back to him. He pokes it in with his left foot. And I knew we'd get back in it. So that was
a sexy finish as well. There's no reason for him to hit it with his left foot either and poke it like that. There was no reason to do it.
It was a good finish.
Cute. It was controlled. And for me, it was the least celebrated goal. For me, it was more like, I threw my arms up, but I didn't go berserk like when we got the Liam Palmer one. But I knew we were going to get back in it. I knew the story wasn't written. I knew we were going to get it back level at least and take it to penalties. So that moment was just rewarding my conviction and in belief that we were going to do it. So it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Did you see Patterson's celebration it was slick as anything. You know, he's done the knee slide. But as he's done the knee slide, he's just gone.
Just wanted you just wanted it like the Haaland one, you know, the one where he does it to that old lady. She's old lady goes like that. That'd have been great. I mean, Patterson did put a shift in, and like Holly said, he was on his arse. Weren't he? One bit he was hobbling around. He went down a few times trying to get up and make things happen. But for me, even in, I know they scored and it was a shit goal for them, but I didn't think they had it in them. The way they played, the way they set up, all 120 minutes, I didn't feel. My memory's shocking, especially after a few beers and everything. But I think Dawson made one save. I may be wrong, but do you know what I mean? There was nothing. He had a couple that were straight at. I know that's the same shit saying this after last Friday, but straight at him. And he did well with it. Of course he did. He should have done. And he's learned his...
Sorry, mate. I'll not cut you off. Stats have got him down as having 3 shots on, or them having 3 shots on target.
No.
So,
it's not like you're talking about the Gregory overhead kick where their keeper made a great save. I can't say anything like Dawson.
There was one where he's gone to his right in the second half, I think it was, where they've broken on the left-hand side and he's gone in and he's pulled one round the post. But from memory, that was pretty much it. So no, I agree with you.
I thought you lot would absolutely rinse me out and make me go, Fudge, you've got to admit that Cameron Dawson had a good game. I thought what was asked of him, he did really well.
Well, yeah, they say that, don't they, about keepers? They don't have much to do in 90 minutes or 120 minutes, concentration-wise. You can't say he had a great game because he didn't have anything to do, but then he had a great game, if you know what I mean. It's not his fault. The defence in front of him, the 3, the 5, whoever, had a great game and did their job, which is what you want. You don't want your goalkeeper getting peppered, do you? That's what the defence is there for, and that's how they play. So you can't say Dawson, but you can, because all 11 and subs had a great game. It was one of them, isn't it? There's no singling out of anyone for being shit or didn't try or didn't do anything, because to a man, Darren Moore got them doing, and they did what Darren Moore wanted, listened to him, instructions, and it ended up obviously going to penalties.
Okay.
See,
so
when it went to penalties, Chansiri was in the huddle. Evil Chansiri was in the huddle, and they didn't fall out. So that thing after Barnsley's a load of shit, innit?
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know.
Are you still drunk?
There's evil Chansiri. Twitter says, but he's awful. But he was there down. He was on the pitch with him before the penalties.
I thought you were talking about some geezer dressed up as Daypon Chansiri in a mask or something.
He was down there.
Sat him down like Phil Brown, didn't it?
He was down there. He went down. You watch the highlights, you see him. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, is he? I didn't notice that at all. But then again, I was about 8 pints deep by this point. I was absolutely the cockles to the country file. So, right. So, went to penalties. Can't really say much about the penalties. David, the crossbar, we've smashed all 5 in. Thanks a lot. See you later. We got on the pitch. We had the best time. We had a load of photos took. I got to touch Liam Palmer after. And like I said, right. So, there's a bit in it. Somebody else's video is very much me in the background going, I'll just wait my turn. And I'm stood there like Jim White, aren't I? Jim White hovers around people going, are you all right? Can you be my friend so I can take your number? You know what I mean? And then brag about it on air. Like, I was very aware of that. And I kind of went, I've bottled this and just fucked off. I just walked away. So here's an opportunity to load it up above Stevie, because I got to meet and touch him. And then
Hey, I'm absolutely gutted. I'm absolutely gutted.
Well, Holly's father.
So
he were having a great time.
So, does anybody else? So, listen, Barnsley coming up then, as it's been confirmed this evening. Did it finish up 1-0, Steve?
Yeah, mate. 1-0.
Okay. Now, I personally have a concern over Barnsley because I feel that Dan, they will want it more. Go on. Sorry, Dan. I don't want to interject and spoil your rhythm. Just want to penalties. I know you said you don't want to talk about them, but I thought, go on. I thought Jack Hunt did extremely well. The way he went about it. Cold as ice, mate. Yeah, just
put the ball down. The keeper was like 2 strides in front of his face, trying to, and he just
stared him down,
chewing his gum, and then just stroked it. It didn't in the top corner, and it looked like he got a bit of a slip as well. So it was like, but cool as anything, just stood there, and then obviously you're not allowed on the pitch, so everyone adhered to the message on do not go on the pitch 15 minutes later. But you know.
15 minutes later, your child is doing a knee slide across the 18-yard box.
Can I just say, it didn't really happen how you see it on telly when everyone runs on in excitement. They were like queuing up to get through that little gap in the wall, jumping over the wall, just like everyone stood there. Like,
I'm halfway up the south, and my little one's gone, Daddy, can I go on the pitch? And by this point, there must have been 5,000 people on the pitch. I've just gone, yeah, come on then. So we've walked down and the steward at the front has literally gone, hello.
Steve, I went to Dan. I said, Dan, can I go on the pitch?
And I went, what do you want to go on there for?
We got on. And I just, you get the taps, and we
allegedly we went on the pitch.
Allegedly, it never happened. But like Dan's just said, you get people going, Sven, Wednesday week, and all this, and you go, yeah. And it's really nice, and obviously we appreciate the fact that you come in, but the fact that somebody just went, Stevie, and I was like, who's this? And I've turned around, and it was this teenage boy, and I looked and I thought, I've seen that boy before. And
Steve, stop talking for God's sake.
Wait. He may or may not be related to somebody that's currently on the podcast. And I went, where's your dad? And he went, I ain't got a clue. So I then spent 5 minutes running around the pitch looking for Ash. Couldn't find him.
I tried ringing him, couldn't find him, and he couldn't find him after about 15 minutes. He goes, just seen Stevie. I said, where?
That was his report.
He went, where? He went, on pitch, where else?
Meanwhile, Blair's on Fudge's shoulders.
My bike will not forgive me for that when I wake up tomorrow.
It was just it's a night that we've said it before about people after the Friday saying I'm going to have my tickets back, blah blah blah, do what you want with your money, whatever. But it was one of those, and you don't have many in your life, but that was one of those I was there moments.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And I'm spitballing here, lads and lasses, everything, but it's great to have you guys there. I had my lad there, I had my close friends there. It was one of them where it was just absolutely fantastic. It was, it was one of those, and it's, well, in a week, just over a week, it'll be the same again, no doubt, with everyone. And I just can't wait to see it because
non-Wednesday fans are calling it one of the greatest comebacks in in English football history.
Yeah, there was just before we recorded this.
It's not just like us going over top. Like it's unbelievable what happened.
Just before we recorded tonight, Blair, I started watching the first half an hour of Bolton Barnsley, and they were going, well, we're certainly not getting treated to the football we got treated to last night. And I'm like, no, you haven't. No, yeah, and like now we're getting mentioned when we've got no right to be mentioned just yet. Like, you know what I mean? And I kind of like that.
It makes a change to be mentioned in the press and in the media for the right flipping reasons.
Yeah, one that's not unpaid players or that term sleeping giant.
But one negative is our friends at the Daily Mail had to pick up on the one negative that someone caught a lad, a bloke, I don't know, wiping out the linesman. Now, I don't know if it was intentionally or what, but they had to go with that. He
does run up to him and absolutely kick his ass.
I don't know, but well, do not condone any of that, and he should get suitable sanctions.
So Jim White's been making a right song and dance about it on TalkSport this week, so it's all become the current hot topic. And that's what they're going to be talking about. probably today. I don't know. I was still hungover in a travel lodge that had no water. So listen, Barnsley coming up. Anybody worried about Barnsley? I feel that they might want it more.
I don't think after last night, Dan, like our support is going to like well up for it. Our players, I mean, they must be like their confidence must be like unbelievably high now after that. Like,
I think now they've sorted out the confidence issue with the psychologist that you were talking about. I feel like
from minute
the
one at Wembley. Well, we remember Wembley 7 years ago, and that the second half was unbelievable, wasn't it, against Hull? Like the crowd, from a crowd point of view, we're going to do that from minute one against Barnsley, aren't we? We're not allowing this team to not get promoted now. I don't think Barry Bannon's going to let it happen either.
Last night's a blueprint, isn't it? That's
bare minimum for me.
We've set if we
they do that against.
From my point of view, if we're going to go out and take however many people we take to Wembley, and that's the only thing, the people that go to Wembley are going to have to turn up like we turned up last night, and if they do, then we've got nothing to worry about from a fan base. It's just about them. And I think the mentality from all the noises that have been made in the last 24 hours, the mentality is absolutely different to where it was 6-7 years ago with the players that didn't turn up against Hull. I've no doubt that if we turn up with the same mentality as we did last night, with the same support and fan base as we did last night, we're giving them a headache, and that's a good place to be. And I know Dan's going to say, they're going to want it more than us. He said that. We've talked about it earlier on. I'd rather play Barnsley than Bolton. And this is one of those things where we talk about people going, let's clip that and it's going to go on social media and become a meme or whatever else. I'm happy with that. And if it comes to pass, it comes to pass. But I'll say, that's a situation, we've not turned up. So the 30th of May, if I'm being played out on a Barnsley forum because I'm an idiot that's drunk too much cider and has said, I'll take it. But if we turn up against them the way that we turned up last night, we've got nothing to worry about. We're a bigger fan base. That's a fact. Bolton would have brought more noise. Bolton would have been more raucous. It'd have been more psychologically. It'd have been a bigger issue to play Bolton, in my opinion.
I get what you mean. Right. Okay. So I'm not going to go for. I'm going to break tradition here. Simon will be happy. I'm going to break tradition and not get you to do a score prediction because
65-3.
65-3. 5-1. I don't want to tempt fate, and I feel like I just want to enjoy it because I must admit, last night was genuinely one of the best experiences I've ever had watching football for 30 odd years as I have. That was genuinely amazing. And when you move away from Sheffield and you're mainly an away supporter and you have to travel to these random tiny grounds and beg, borrow, steal a ticket because we're in League One and all the rest of it, to go up there and be around, it's going to sound really cheesy, but my people, like the people I grew up with and the people I know and you guys and stuff like that, it was genuinely special to me. Like really, really genuinely special. And I've got back today and none of my staff can understand what I'm talking now because I'm not doing my soft put, southern accent, like, you know what I mean? So, listen, I just wanted to thank you to Sheffield Wednesday for giving me that evening, and I'm glad I've managed to share it with you guys. Does anybody have any other business? Because I think there's only one thing happening in our life right now, and that's a week on Monday.
Well, I'd not anticipated that after Friday, I went out on Saturday and spent all my Wembley money because I thought that wasn't happening. So I had not anticipated that everybody in my household would be going to Wembley.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted Wednesday.
Just one car, though, isn't it?
Absolutely not. We're not going together. No. I just wanted Wednesday to give it their all and go, night. But they didn't.
Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, aren't
they went one more, and now I've got to go to Wembley at the same time as everyone in my house.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up there then, boys and girls. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And if you've watched us the entire time on Twitter, you're a better man than I. I'm gonna see if we can post this out now as an actual episode. Honestly, last night 5-1, Liam Palmer. It had everything. All the drama. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you at Wembley.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.